Hello, my friends. AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to my face and my card making space and another STAMPtember exclusive collaboration. For those not aware, many brands through the month of September partner with Simon Says Stamp, and they release these exclusive limited edition sets that are only available through Simon Says Stamp while supplies last. They're one and done. When they sell out, they are not restocked. That said, I always link to the brand I'm featuring the collab for with my supplies in the description box below the video, because when the products are no longer available, 99% of the time there are other items, wafer dies, stamps, etc. Generally it's stamps, it is STAMPtember, that are similar, or that coordinate, or, you know, that can be substituted instead of. So I will always provide those links. And when I have the time, which this month hasn't been happening, I try to post links to similar ones. But all that to be said, this video is for the Trinity Stamps collaboration. This is Trinity's first year collaborating for Simon Says Stamp. I am a big fan of Trinity Stamps. You guys have seen me do videos using their products for I'm not sure how many years now, and I absolutely love them. I was super excited about this set because it's gnomes, and those that know me know I love the gnomes. I especially love the Trinity Stamps gnomes, and they do have many gnome stamp sets by the same illustrator, so there's plenty to choose from. And they're all my favorites. There's so many different style, like themes, all different things. So again, it's worth checking out the brand. I'll have the link below. So I did some coloring, I did a little bit of hot foiling and some simple ink blending, and I had a lot of fun making this card. So if you keep watching, I will show you how I made this card. So this is the Sledding Gnomes collaboration set. And I took some of Simon's smooth white 120 pound cardstock, put it in my MISTI, lined up all the images from the set onto the cardstock, and then I'm going to ink these up and stamp them with Simon's Intense Black ink, which is an alcohol marker friendly ink. So ink them up, stamp them. I'm going to do that twice, and then I was like, well, there's a little bit of space on here. I can fit another tree, because why not? So I just used my Positively Perfect Placement Guides large. Yeah, anything works. I've also shown using just like the transparency, that the stamp packaging, that sort of thing. I just use this to prevent me from having to clean my stamp, you know, so I can line it up, you know, when I want to move stamps around, etc. This way I can do that without having to worry about getting like ink smears or anything on the cardstock I've stamped on. And I don't have to clean my stamps in between. It just makes life a little easier. So after I had everything stamped, right now, this is real time, how, you know, I color, because I do not color as fast as my videos make it look. I don't do anything as fast as my videos make it look. Pretty much everything I've sped up, always, because otherwise we are going to be here all day. And yeah, that's what the live streams are for now. I can like actually craft in real time with you guys. But for regular videos, no, we ain't got time for that. So now it's all super sped up, but I'm using my Spectrum Noir TriBlends again to do my coloring. Anything is going to work. You know, you could watercolor these little guys. If you stamped them onto watercolor paper, you could use color pencils, all those sorts of options. I've just been very much enjoying my TriBlends. And again, do they compare to Copics? Not really. Copics are still kind of, you know, top shelf, but these are fun. And I do have a playlist that I will hopefully remember to link at the end of this video. So many things for me to remember, but I do have a playlist where I've put just all the videos I've done using these markers, because I've done quite a few since I got them. I forget when I first got them, like way back the beginning of the year, I think, is when I bought my first set, because I was very curious, and then I was like, well, I have to have all the colors, because you guys know me. If I don't have all the colors, like, what's the point? I'm being sarcastic, but that is how I am. Anyway, I did basically what I call simple coloring. Like I didn't do any mixing of colors because each marker has 3 shades, a light, a medium, and a dark. And I just stuck with those. Sometimes I branch out a bit here and there with these markers and I'll use like different shades, that sort of a thing. But for this, I just kept it all very, very simple. So I used a different shade of brown for my little reindeer, and he is Rudolph because I was like, he's got that big nose like the gnomes, you know, sticking out. But I was like, well, of course it has to be red. Like it has to be. It's just, that's the rule. So added that to him, and then did my greens for these trees. You could skip that and keep these trees white, like make it look like they're just covered in snow if you don't want to do, you know, coloring. I thought about it. I was like, that would just be easier. But I wanted the pop of green because I'm going to have like hills of snow and everything on my actual card. So I went with coloring these in, but just the way they're drawn, it's like, ooh, they could look like they're just covered with a nice deep blanket of snow as well. So that's another option just to make life a little easier. And then of course I pulled out my Nuvo Aqua Shimmer pen because everything needs more glitter, and started with like, it was just going to be, you know, the Rudolph's nose. And then I was like, well, the gnomes need sparkly hats and accessories. And I was like, and then the trees need it. I just covered everything with it, like whatever. And I will show at the end with my flashlight, because always on video when I'm painting this, even in real life, it looks like nothing. It looks like I'm just doing absolutely nothing, but then you tilt it in the light and it's like, ooh, sparkle fabulousness. So you always do that first if you're planning on adding white gel pen highlights. Same with like things like glossy accents, etc. You do all of that first, let it all dry, then add your white gel pen, because those things will cause the white gel pen to either smear or dissolve it completely, because it's just the nature of white gel pens. So after the sparkle had dried, I took my Jelly Roll 10, so the widest white gel pen, and just added all sorts of random little dots and highlights like I like to do. I wasn't following any sort of light source for anything when I colored this, so I just stuck them. I say all that, but it's still in my head. The light source is sort of coming from the upper right, because that's just habit. It's been like that since I was a kid. Even when I used to like draw little scenes and things, the sun was always in the upper right-hand corner, because that's just what I did. Anywho, hot foiling. I pulled out, this is Opal. I think it's Opal. Yes, Opal Glimmer Foil. I've shown this in other videos. This one's tricky. Only because all the other foils, it's very obvious which side is the right side, like the pretty side. With this one, if you accidentally like cut a piece and flip it over, I can never tell. So I was careful, and I made sure to like cut it as it was laying on top of the cardstock. I immediately taped it into place. This was another panel of Simon Smooth White cardstock. I taped it into place because that's just been my habit for quite some time now. And for whatever reason, I just think it is magic. By just taping the foil into place, it just makes it work better. I know, but whatever. I haven't had any issues, so I'm going to keep doing it. So I taped it into place, and I'm using the Trinity Stamps Falling Snow hot foil plate. That plate is huge, actually. It's like 5x6, something like that. And so you could do like larger card panels with it. But had it heating up on my Glimmer hot foil machine. I'd press the timer, put the cardstock with the foil. So the pretty side of the foil was touching the pattern of the hot foil plate. I peeled it off. I had a really hard time this time showing this on camera, but in real life, it's pretty. It's subtle, but it's pretty. I need to use that Opal Glimmer hot foil more often, because it has the prettiest little bit of reflect, but it's not super obvious. But again, super pretty. So after I peeled the foil off, I did very simple ink blending using just one color. This is Chipped Sapphire Distress Oxide ink, and was reminded again of how gorgeous this color is. Every time I pull out Chipped Sapphire, and it's one I don't reach for very often for whatever reason, but then every time I do, I'm like, oh, this color is fabulous. And it is. And I'm not bothering to blend the whole panel because you're not going to see the bottom anyway. It's just the upper portion. So I just used a blending brush, blended that, cleaned off my work surface, then took my cloth and just lightly went over the whole background. And that removes any ink that was sitting on top of that foil, because the foil resists the ink. So wiped all that off so you can see the pretty foil snow backdrop. And then I grabbed just a scrap of black cardstock, used my anti-static powder tool on it, and inked up and stamped one of the sentiments from this set with clear embossing ink. Covered that with detail white embossing powder. I'm going to melt that with my heat tool, and then I fussy cut this out along with everything else. For those that aren't aware, I get these sets early, and I don't get the wafer dies because different manufacturers, time constraints, all the things. I was lucky enough to even get the package for those that, you know, were here for the beginning of the month, and my MIA package that went on vacation for 2 solid weeks. And anyway, it's here now, and this is why I'm scrambling. Anywho, don't have the wafer dice, so I do fussy cutting. I'm fine with it. It just is. Do I prefer the wafer dice? Of course. But when I don't got them, I fussy cut. So anywho, fussy cut all my images. Ended up deciding to put the reindeer on the inside of the card. That wasn't my original plan, but as I was like laying everything out, he just didn't fit. It just, and I thought he would look, and I'm glad I stuck him on the inside because he gets to like shine on the inside. Because I stamped one of the sentiments with VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink on the inside of the card. And then I stamped a couple of the trees with some Concord 9th lemongrass. And then I adhered my little Rudolph right on top of that. So he's just like, hey, when you open the card. And then I took some white glitter paper and I die cut that with, I used Lawn Fawn SLIMLINE stitched hillside wafer dies. I've used these in many videos during STAMPtember. I do have a link for them. I'm not even sure if they're still like available, if Lawn Fawn still makes them or not, but really any hillside snowdrift type wafer dies will work. So I just put them on different angles and die cut like a couple scraps as well of the glitter paper, and then just built, my little scene. Adhered all that to that background that I'd hot foiled and blended on. And then all of my little stamped elements, these top ones I adhered with a combination of some little foam squares and some craft tacky glue just to give them a little bit extra dimension. And again, if I had the time, I totally would have done like die cut and done a slider element. So these guys would actually slide on the card. Trust me, I thought about it. I just didn't have time. I did that in one of my STAMPtember videos last year, I think. Yeah, it's so fun and it's so cute. I hope one of the other makers does it. But yeah, I am burning the candle at both ends and trying to do all the things. So I just popped them up with foam squares, but doing a little slider element would have been adorable. And then of course I added bling, and of course it's Trinity Stamps bling, and of course it's the bubble bath little bling pieces again, because they've been sitting on my desk for the last like week and I keep reaching for them because I love them. And Trinity has a ton of bling. Oh, it's another one of my faves with Trinity Stamps. I have trays. Like when I say I have multiple lifetimes, I'm not exaggerating, because Trinity Stamps is the bulk of it. And they're fabulous and I love them. So anyway, that finished off this card. Like I mentioned in the intro. Yeah, here we go. Before I get to that, sparkle. I still couldn't really show the reflect though on that opal hot glimmer foil, but trust me, it's there. It's beautiful. Sparkliness, sparkle paper, all the things, cannot go wrong. So anywho, like I mentioned in the intro, I will have links to everything I used in the description box below the video, as well as a link to the Trinity Stamps brand so you guys can check out because they've got tons of stuff. As of me doing this voiceover, they also have a release coming out soon, possibly the same day as this. I forget. So many amazing things, and I will have a release and review video as soon as I get the products, and they'll be wonderful and all the fun things. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't. I would love to have you, and I'll see you all very soon in the next video. Bye.